Let's get her on the line here. That would be Lyn Christian from soulsalt.com. How you doing, Lyn?
I am so good. How about you guys?
We're doing great. So we're hoping to see you in studio this morning, but maybe next time when you...
Next time for sure.
Perfect. Okay. Hey, before we get into what we're talking about, so we were talking about getting pulled over. Ever been pulled over and then had regrets, or maybe not, but you said something to the officer and then you're pretty sure that's what got you the ticket, or no?
Can I knock on wood and say the one time I was pulled over was my cousin who was playing a trick on me, and he had a cop car that he was playing in.
Oh, you're kidding.
That's the only time. He scared me to death. I hadn't done anything.
You've never been pulled over other than that?
Knock on wood.
Wow.
What?
That's a whoa. I don't want to, then I don't want to jinx it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it anymore.
I've been with people who have been pulled over, but yeah.
Wow.
You're good, lady.
That's really, really
That's magic.
Good. Yeah, keep that
I'm just knocking
going.
on wood. Let's knock on wood. We've all made mistakes.
Yeah.
We've all done the thing.
Yeah, especially me and Frankie.
Yeah,
we get pulled up for a lot.
Yeah, well, totally. Yeah, well, that's crazy. It's
Yeah,
like we're talking to a unicorn right now.
We're in shock.
This is like I don't know if I've ever known anybody that's never been pulled over.
Me neither.
Wow, that's great.
We
All right.
love you even more. We're impressed.
We're just thrown off. Hey, we're talking about feeling overwhelmed. So this is something that I think, well, everybody listening can relate to this, but the people that kind of fall into this where it can, because when you're overstressed and overwhelmed, it can be debilitating.
Yeah.
It can literally just stop you from living. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so overwhelm happens to all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can be good or bad. For instance, if you've lost someone close to you and you've had an outpouring of love and empathy and compassion, it can be overwhelming to accept that much care and love, right?
Right, yeah.
However, we're talking about the time when it comes across as negative. And generally speaking, it's when there's too much. And we're not talking about just everyday stress, because sometimes stress is good. Sometimes it kicks us in the butt and makes us do that thing.
True.
We're talking about when you're starting to feel that build up, and usually it's too many things coming at you, too many options vying for your attention, maybe too many choices or too much on your plate. That's what we're talking about. Here's the thing. At the bottom of that kind of overwhelm, typically we find fear. And I found this when we were doing some gardening this weekend, and my partner was just going at it, and I was going at it, and she stood up and she said, I'm just overwhelmed by all of this stuff. You know, we had seedlings that we needed to tend to for the fall. We had something we needed to weed. We needed to order mulch. And I just stopped and said, is there some fear here? And she said, yeah, I'm afraid we're not going to do it all right.
Wow.
Right? And so from there we could talk it through, and that's really what's usually at the bottom. So when you're in overwhelm, realize there's probably fear at the root, and there are some things you can do about it. Should we talk about those?
Yeah.
Oh, please, I need this
we're
now.
We're jotting it down. And I'm thinking about, like, with what we're talking about, it's kind of the bigger version. You remember when I came to see you? I came to see you a couple of times, but the one thing that I talked to you about was the office, the home office, and how I couldn't get past it. I would go in, and I would shut down. And this is kind of the bigger version of that, like with life, you know, where you just kind of shut down.
True.
Exactly. Good connection.
Yeah.
That's a great connection. So the first thing to do is stabilize yourself. And don't do this if you're driving. So if you're listening to this and driving, don't try this. But if you're not, just look at something in the room where you are or wherever you are, and just gently stare at that thing and start to breathe and notice your breath. And let your eyes just rest gently on that object.
Okay. That's good.
Then move your eyes to another object and breathe with that object, and just let your eyes be gently resting on that thing, and breathe in and out. And then go to a third thing, another object, rest your eyes on it gently, and breathe and be present with that item.
Okay.
Now come back to the original, and notice that your autonomic nervous system has started to calm down. When we get overwhelmed, the first thing we need to do is stabilize, because overwhelm puts our body into stress, and we start to feel the effects of cortisol and adrenaline. Yeah. So this puts us back into a place where we're more stable. Then you look at all your options, and you just pick one. So that's the second step. Look at the options. Go ahead, look at them, and just pick one. That's all you have to do.
Wow.
And then the final step is do that one thing. If you need to come back and get the next step, you can do that. Or if that step you picked suggests another, go in that direction. But you have to start to take action. And then just keep in mind, after you've taken these 3 steps, remember the Pareto rule from the economist in Italy, the 80-20 rule.
Mm-hmm.
Of all those things that are overwhelming you, let's say you have 10 things coming at you at once. If you pick 2 of them, they will give you 80% of the outcomes that the whole 10 offered. So just do one and then do the other, and pretty soon you'll see you've reaped 80% of the benefit by just picking 20% of the things to do.
Wow. You know, I'm thinking about what you're saying here and didn't even realize that I was utilizing a lot of the steps that you're talking about. And cause we had a lot of stuff go on in the last, 4 months. My brother was struggling for his life in the hospital. I was flying back and forth to New York. We decided, and it was all self-inflicted at that, on top of with my brother, but we decided to buy a house, 4 houses up. We sold the house, bought a house, sold my wife Tammy's condo that she had before we got together. All this stuff, and some of it was self-inflicted, but my point is, some of the things that you're talking about, I remember thinking, like, how are we going to do this, right? Mm-hmm. Feeling overwhelmed, and I remember just tackling a couple of things, like what you're talking about.
Right.
And then it just all kind of fell into place. But I remember having to be cognizant of it, going, I don't know, because there's that part where you're like, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And
I feel like you're drowning.
Yeah, but you got to start little like that. So I remember just starting with a couple of things and then everything else. And maybe I was doing the breathing techniques. I don't remember, but that is key because that's huge. That can stop you from having panic attacks and just controlling the body and everything with the breathing techniques. That's so important.
Yeah.
But these are great tips.
Yeah, I love
these
this.
are really, really good.
I love the step-by-step, Lyn, because like you said, don't do it while you're driving. But these are great tips.
These are good. So if you want to actually get a free guide to navigating overwhelm by texting this word, one word, overstress, as in I'm overstressed.
I'm over it.
Right? So it's overstress, one word. You want to text that to 44222. That's 44222, and the word is overstress. So one word, no spaces on that. Overstress to 44222. You can get a free guide, basically with what Lyn is telling you, and then some to kind of get through this. Lyn, you're awesome.
You too. It's so fun to talk to you guys and way to innately get yourself through the overwhelm.
Oh, thanks.
It's because of you. And a lot of our listeners have gone to you and have talked about you and follow you. And thank you for doing the good that you do and using your gifts and skills and talents, because you're changing lives, girl, and we appreciate you.
Well, thank you. That means the world to me. Thank you.
You're awesome. We'll talk to you next time in studio, right? Promise?
Yes, we'll see you eye to eye.
Okay. Thanks, Lyn.
Hey, it's Lyn Christian from Soul Salt. Thank you for listening to this conversation with Frankie and Jess from 97.1 KZHT. If you found this content helpful, I encourage you to subscribe to the Soul Salt YouTube channel for more videos like this. For more information regarding today's topic, visit our page linked in the description below.